Royal Yacht's emotional final voyage, the 90-year tradition that transforms young Danes into elite naval crew before winter silence falls. Welcome to B News. The cold November wind whipped across Copenhagen's harbor on November 13, 2025, as one of Denmark's most cherished maritime traditions reached its poignant annual conclusion at Nordic Toldbod Pier. Against the backdrop of the city's historic waterfront, His Majesty King Frederik X and Her Majesty Queen Mary descended the gangway of the Royal Yacht Danbrog for the final time this year, marking the official end of a sailing season that has carried them across Danish waters, to foreign ports, and through countless ceremonial duties aboard what many consider Denmark's most beautiful and diplomatically significant vessel. This wasn't merely a logistical necessity dictated by Baltic winter weather, it was a deeply symbolic moment steeped in naval tradition, emotional farewells, and the bittersweet recognition that another chapter in the 90-year story of this remarkable ship had drawn to a close. As their Majesties stood on the aft deck addressing the assembled crew, particularly the young conscripts who had devoted the past 7 months to mastering seamanship aboard this floating palace, the scene captured something quintessentially Danish: the intersection of monarchy, military service, maritime heritage, and the egalitarian spirit that allows teenagers from ordinary backgrounds to serve shoulder to shoulder with their king and queen. But what makes the Danbrog so special that its seasonal retirement warrants royal ceremony? Why do young Danes compete fiercely for the privilege of spending months polishing brass, standing watch, and learning 19th-century sailing skills aboard a vessel that could be replaced by modern alternatives? And what happens during the intimate, strijemiddag, farewell dinner where command is symbolically lowered and another cohort of sailors transitions from active service to lifetime memories? If you're fascinated by royal traditions that actually mean something, want to discover how Denmark's monarchy stays relevant by honoring its maritime roots, and crave exclusive insights into military customs that transform young people's lives, hit that subscribe button right now and turn on notifications because we're diving deep into stories of service, tradition, and transformation that deserve far more attention than they receive. The Royal Yacht Danbrog represents far more than luxurious transportation for Danish royalty. It embodies national identity, maritime heritage, and diplomatic soft power in a form that has sailed Danish waters since 1932. When King Christian X commissioned the vessel during the depths of the Great Depression, many questioned the wisdom of such expenditure during economic crisis, but the king understood that certain symbols transcend mere utility. The Danbrog, named after Denmark's national flag, itself the world's oldest continuously used national flag, dating to the 14th century, was designed to serve multiple functions simultaneously: as a royal residence during summer cruises through Danish waters, as a diplomatic platform for state visits and official receptions, as a training vessel for naval conscripts, and as a visible symbol of Danish sovereignty and maritime tradition. At 78 meters in length with a displacement of 1,130 tons, the ship strikes a perfect balance between intimate charm and impressive presence. Unlike the massive royal yachts maintained by some nations, Danbrog's relatively modest scale reflects Danish values of appropriateness and functionality over ostentatious display, yet its classic lines, immaculate maintenance, and the skill of its crew ensure it commands respect in any port. The vessel has carried 4 monarchs across its 9 decades of service: Christian X, who commissioned it, Frederik IX, who was himself a passionate sailor, Margrethe II, who reigned for 52 years and developed deep affection for the ship, and now Frederik X, who assumed both throne and yacht in January 2024. When King Frederik and Queen Mary disembarked at Nordic Toldbod on November 13, 2025, they were participating in a ritual their predecessors had enacted dozens of times before, creating continuity across generations and anchoring the monarchy in tangible, repeated experiences that Danes can witness and understand. The location itself carries significance. Nordic Toldbod, situated near the Kastellet fortress in central Copenhagen, provides convenient access to Amalienborg Palace while placing the yacht prominently in public view, reminding residents and tourists alike of Denmark's maritime identity. Throughout the sailing season that concluded on this November day, Danbrog had served as mobile headquarters for royal duties, hosting diplomatic receptions, facilitating official visits to Danish coastal communities, and providing the king and queen with opportunities to connect with citizens across the nation's far-flung islands and peninsulas in ways that would be impossible through conventional travel. The conscripts whom King Frederik and Queen Mary addressed so warmly on November 13 represent one of Danbrog's most important but least visible functions, serving as an elite training platform that transforms young Danes into skilled mariners while exposing them to levels of responsibility and excellence that shape their entire lives. Every January, the Center for Maritime Education and Safety in Frederikshavn welcomes a carefully selected group of young people who have volunteered for this unique form of military service. Denmark, like several European nations, maintains conscription, though in practice most service is voluntary and positions aboard prestigious units like Danbrog are highly competitive. The conscripts who reported for duty in April 2025 came from diverse backgrounds across Danish society, small towns and major cities, fishing families and professional households, university-bound students taking a gap year and young people seeking direction before choosing civilian careers. What united them was willingness to commit 7 intensive months to mastering skills that blend 19th-century seamanship with 21st-century professionalism. Life aboard Danbrog during the sailing season demands standards that would seem almost impossibly high to outsiders. Every surface must gleam, every line must be perfectly coiled, every uniform must meet exacting specifications, and every interaction with royalty, foreign dignitaries, or the Danish public must reflect the highest levels of courtesy and competence. The conscripts don't merely staff the ship, they become part of its identity, visible representatives of Danish youth and the nation's commitment to maintaining traditions even when easier modern alternatives exist. They stand watch in all weather, navigate using both traditional and modern methods, maintain the vessel's complex systems, serve meals prepared in the yacht's galley, participate in ceremonial duties when the ship enters foreign ports, and gradually absorb the maritime knowledge and discipline that have been passed from one conscript cohort to the next for over 9 decades. The experience creates bonds that last lifetimes. Former Danbrog conscripts speak of their service with an emotional intensity rare in discussing military obligations, describing how the combination of demanding standards, close quarters, meaningful responsibility, and proximity to the royal family created transformative experiences that shaped their character and provided reference points for measuring excellence throughout subsequent careers. The evening, Stregemiddag, at Frederick VIII's palace represented the intimate counterpoint to the public ceremony at Nordre Toldbod, a moment when the formal hierarchy that necessarily governs shipboard life could relax slightly as the king and queen hosted Danbrog's officers for a farewell dinner steeped in naval tradition. The term, Stregemiddag, literally translates to strike dinner, referring to the ceremonial lowering or striking of the command pennant that flies from the yacht's mast during the sailing season, indicating the commanding officer's active authority over the vessel. This tradition, common across naval services worldwide but executed with particular Danish character aboard Danbrog, marks the formal transition from active operations to winter maintenance status. When the command pennant comes down, it signifies that the ship is no longer an operational unit of the Royal Danish Navy but rather a vessel in winter quarters, its crew dispersed, its royal passengers returned to land-based residences, its purpose suspended until spring's return. The dinner itself, held in the relatively intimate surroundings of Frederick VIII's palace, the section of Amalienborg that serves as the monarch's private residence, allows relationships formed during months at sea to be acknowledged and celebrated in less formal circumstances than shipboard protocol typically permits. Naval tradition generally maintains strict separation between officers and enlisted personnel, and between crew and royal passengers, but the Stregemiddag creates a liminal space where these boundaries can be gently transgressed, where the king can express personal gratitude to officers who have ensured his family's safety and comfort, and where the shared experience of another successful sailing season can be commemorated before everyone returns to shore-based routines. For the officers, this dinner represents professional recognition at the highest possible level, a personal invitation from the sovereign they serve, an acknowledgement that their work matters beyond routine military duty. King Frederick, who brings his own naval background to these occasions, having served in the Royal Danish Navy's Frogman Corps, Denmark's elite Special Operations Unit, understands the maritime culture from the inside, lending authenticity to these interactions that might otherwise feel merely ceremonial. Queen Mary, though not born to this tradition, has embraced Danish maritime culture with evident enthusiasm, demonstrating the curiosity and respect that makes such cross-cultural transitions successful. The Royal Yacht Danbrog's winter journey to Frederikshavn, where it will remain berthed until spring 2026, represents both practical necessity and symbolic significance in the annual cycle of Danish royal and naval life. Frederikshavn, located at Denmark's northeastern tip where the Kattegat meets the Skagerrak, serves as one of the nation's most important maritime centers, home to commercial fishing fleets, ferry services connecting Denmark to Norway and Sweden, and significantly for Danbrog's purposes, the Center for Maritime Education and Safety. This institution, responsible for training naval personnel in seamanship, navigation, damage control, and the countless specialized skills required for maritime service, welcomes each new conscript cohort in January, beginning the process that will transform civilians into sailors capable of serving aboard vessels like Danbrog. The yacht's presence in Frederikshavn throughout winter months serves multiple purposes beyond simple storage. The vessel undergoes extensive maintenance that would be difficult to accomplish during the active sailing season: hull inspections and repairs, mechanical systems overhaul, interior refurbishment, and the countless other tasks required to maintain a 93-year-old ship in pristine condition. The conscripts who will crew Danbrog during the 2026 sailing season will have opportunities to familiarize themselves with the vessel during their training period, learning its systems and peculiarities before assuming responsibility for its operation. And the yacht's presence provides tangible inspiration for maritime students, a reminder that their training might lead to service aboard Denmark's most prestigious vessel. The tradition of Frederikshavn as Danbrog's winter home dates back decades and reflects the port city's long association with naval activities. As November 13, 2025 gave way to the darker months of late autumn and winter, the yacht's departure from Copenhagen carried melancholy overtones, a reminder that seasons change, that even privileged positions like serving the royal family involve separation and transition, and that the maritime life follows rhythms dictated by weather and tradition rather than human convenience. For Copenhagen residents, the empty berth at Nordre Toldbod throughout winter months serves as a visible absence, a small but noticeable gap in the harbor landscape that makes Danbrog's return each spring feel like a genuine homecoming. The cycle repeats annually, creating continuity across decades, connecting present-day Danes to their maritime heritage, and ensuring that traditions maintained through deliberate choice rather than absolute necessity continue passing to new generations. As darkness fell over Copenhagen on November 13, 2025, and the farewell dinner at Frederick VIII's palace concluded with toasts, speeches, and the camaraderie that shared service creates, the day's events crystallized several truths about contemporary monarchy, military service, and the role of tradition in modern societies. The Royal Yacht Danbrog, approaching its centenary, remains relevant not despite its age but because of what that age represents: continuity, craftsmanship, commitment to excellence, and the willingness to maintain connections to the past even when easier alternatives exist. The conscripts who served aboard during the 2025 sailing season will carry forward skills and memories that shape their understanding of service, excellence, and what they're capable of achieving under demanding circumstances. King Frederick and Queen Mary, by personally participating in farewell ceremonies and hosting the Stregemiddag dinner, demonstrated that modern monarchy can honor tradition without becoming trapped in it, can maintain standards without appearing aloof, and can combine ancient forms with authentic human connection. The sight of Denmark's king and queen standing on their yacht's deck, thanking young sailors who have devoted months to serving them and their nation, creates a narrative that resonates across the Danish political spectrum, neither so progressive that tradition is dismissed as irrelevant, nor so conservative that change is resisted regardless of necessity. This balancing act, performed annually through rituals like the sailing season's conclusion, helps explain why Danish monarchy maintains such robust public support even in an egalitarian society that might seem inhospitable to hereditary institutions. As the Danbrog made its way northward through November seas toward its winter berth, and as the conscripts began the emotional process of transitioning back to civilian life, they carried forward a legacy that will influence Danish maritime culture, royal tradition, and individual lives in ways both measurable and intangible for decades to come. Now, we want to hear from you. In an age of budget constraints and modern alternatives, do you believe maintaining historic vessels like the Royal Yacht Danbrog for training and ceremonial purposes represents worthwhile cultural investment, or should such resources be redirected to more practical modern equipment? Share your perspective in the comments, and don't forget to like this video and subscribe for more exclusive coverage of royal traditions, military service, and the maritime heritage that continues shaping national identities across Europe.